Yeah, Tim Hudak announced, I guess, twice in the last couple of months. Lately, was maybe 2 weeks ago, he reiterated that if Dalton McGuinty doesn't have a public inquiry under the Inquiries Act into the e-health scandal, then we will. $1 billion and very little to show for it, nothing to show for it in terms of electronic records across the province, and consultants making hundreds of millions of dollars out of that billion. In fact, they think about 66% of the billion was wasted on consultants, and the rest they did manage to buy a few computers and stuff like that. But fact of the matter is, we will have a public inquiry. The Liberals know that. Politically, I think it's in their interest to try and have an inquiry this year to clear the air, because you're right, heads haven't rolled. And the Auditor General, again, this week in his report, finding that about $2 million an hour is being spent on consultants rather than frontline health care. Those CEOs of those hospitals who make $400,000 to $900,000 a year should be held responsible, and they're not. No heads are rolling, and the Minister of Health's head is still on, and yet she should have stepped aside and resigned by this point. Certainly that's the parliamentary thing to do, to take full responsibility. So we're going to have an inquiry, and I gather you support us on that.
Jim, so we have time for more questions tonight. I thought we'd do one final poll question, and it's a question you often ask. For the services that people receive from government, so you, the taxpayer, and the services you receive from government, compared to the level of taxes you pay, do you think taxes today are too high? Please press 1. If you think taxes are too low, please press 2. If you think taxes are just about right, please press 3. So you can key in your answer now to that poll question on your keypad. So the question is, for the services we receive from government compared to the level of taxation, that is the taxes we pay, are taxes too high? Please press 1. Too low? Please press 2. About right? Please press 3. Now, we'll come back with the poll results in a minute as people key them in on their keypads. We have another question, actually, about Highway 26. I don't know if we've answered this or not, but we'll go to Ron, who's been patiently waiting on the line from Wasaga Beach. Ron, what was your question for Jim Wilson?
It was pretty much answered by the caller from Stayner. However, I've been following this fiasco for years, as has Jim. In fact, he's been my source of information. But most recently, Monday this week, there was notifications attached to my post office box at the top of the street that this project is on again. And I can't help but be a little skeptical and wonder, are they just blowing some more smoke, or are they actually going to do something?
Well, I'm with you, Ron, and as I said, as I told, I guess when those notices came out, I was interviewed by the Collingwood Enterprise Bulletin on I think it was Monday afternoon, and I said I'll believe it when we're driving on it or when I see it, type thing. So thanks for your support over the years, you and literally thousands of people. One of the largest petition I've done in 20 years was on that issue. I think the second largest was the reopening of the birthing unit in Alliston. So petitions do work, letters, emails. I still wouldn't stop emailing the government, the Premier in particular, about the highway, just in case they stop it again. But for about the 7th time, the Liberals have announced that they're restarting. So, as I said, I'll believe it when I see it. And again, thank you to everyone that's been very supportive over the years. Obviously, putting the pressure on the government appears to be working, but we'll see.
Jim, we have the poll results in. Of the callers tonight, the percentage who think taxes are too low in Ontario is 1%. The percentage who think taxes are about right, 14%, and the number of people who think taxes are too high, 85%. So pretty clear view from our participants tonight on this electronic town hall you're hosting. We thought we'd go now off to Wasaga Beach again. We've got a caller on who has a question about the local water levels in the rivers, some concern that maybe they've been changing over the years. Caller, are you on the line from Wasaga Beach with a question from Jim Wilson? A question for Jim Wilson?
Yes. Yes, I am.
What's your question this evening?
Hi, Jim. I'm Carmela, and we own a house on the Nottawasaga River in Wasaga Beach. And we used to bring our jet boat by our dock on our property. And over the last few years, we've been here about 8 years, we've noticed that the water level has gone down, so much so that in some spots we see the ground, the water level is below the surface of the ground, and it's not safe. It's no longer safe to bring our boat up. And we were wondering if there's any plans of dredging the river or doing something about the decreasing water levels.
Well, as you know, we are trying to seek money from both the province and the federal government for dredging. Town Council, to their credit, is doing a bit at the mouth of the river this year or early next year at their cost. And as you may have read in the paper recently, they're going to bill the government, whether they get any dollars or not. The mayor said he's going to send the bill to both the federal and provincial government. So it's an issue we're working on. I know I don't have a boat myself, but I often go out boating with people on the river, and certainly, and the weeds are getting really bad. So I think there is something we can do about the soot. The overall water levels in Georgian Bay and across the Great Lakes have been down significantly, and there's a lot of theories, and there's been some studies of why that has occurred, and it's an environmental concern to everyone that borders on the Great Lakes and us in Georgian Bay. So that's one of the reasons the river is down, but also because, as you mentioned, it's just filling up with soot, and we need to dredge it. The last major dredging that I can remember was probably about 10 years ago, and I'm just guessing. I mean, I live there. I live there, and I've lived there for the last 15 years, born and raised in Alliston, but live in the middle of the riding with Wasaga Beach, and I can remember the dredging, and it certainly needs to be done again. So I give credit to Council for moving ahead even without upper-level government support, and I'm going to keep the pressure on to try and get us some money for dredging. So hang in there.
Great. We've got a question from Collingwood, a question about the one of the bridges in the area, I think. Caller, are you on the line with a question for Jim Wilson this evening?
Actually, is that me?
Yes. Well,
hello?
You're on the call.
It's Chris Vandercruz from Brentwood, actually, and I'm calling about the Collingwood Street Bridge that's in Creemore.
I'm sorry, my error.
That's okay. It's actually scheduled for destruction and replacement by the County of Simcoe, and I'm just wondering what Jim feels that we can do to try and stop it. This bridge has been such a historical part of Creemore for over 97 years, and it is actually one of the few remaining riveted structural bridges left in Ontario. It actually was built by my great-grandfather as well, J.J. Dumond, and the footings are all still there, visible today. And when you look at all the historical structures being demolished in the name of progress, is there some way of stopping such destruction and preserving the architectural structures that are so significant to our past?
Okay, Jim, question?
Good question, Chris. The jurisdiction for that is solely with the County of Simcoe. I don't want to sound like I'm brushing you off, but as you know, both the mayor and deputy mayor are your representatives on the county council. And our Cal Patterson, good friend of mine, Mayor of Wasaga Beach, is, as you know, Chris, very well, is the warden, is the head of that council. So I would be happy to get in touch with Cal for you, or he's pretty accessible, so you might want to just give him a call at home in Wasaga Beach even. He doesn't mind that. And sit down. If you want me to attend that meeting, I'd be happy to attend too. But I don't have any jurisdiction, nor does the province, nor would we be participating likely in any financial way unless there's another federal provincial infrastructure program where the county would apply for dollars from the upper level governments. But right now my best guidance is you got to work it through your local county council representatives.
Now, Jim, so many people have raised good local issues this evening. If they want to come see you or visit your office, where do they go?
Well, the best thing to do is to phone. I'm in the phone book under every town. You just look up Jim Wilson MPP, and the numbers are there. There is a telephone toll-free number, 1-800-268-7542. Also, you can go to the website, jimwilsonmpp.com, so one word, .com. And you can leave me an email just by pressing a button. And we're pretty good at getting back to people. One of the reasons we're having the town hall by telephone tonight and trying to involve so many people and reach out is because people are getting a little tired of this government. We're starting to hear more from them. So I'm having a little bit of a problem keeping up with my phone calls and emails, but I'll get to you eventually. And I certainly appreciate the feedback, and that's what keeps us going, as your representative, is I have to hear, no matter how small the problem or issue, I have to hear what's going on. So I really do appreciate when people do contact me.
Now, Jim, there's this thing called haveyoursayontario.ca. What's that all about?
Yeah, as we were saying earlier, it's a province-wide survey. I intend to mail a copy to every home in the riding. We want to, particularly as we're setting policy, for the next election, we need to hear from people, and our best advisors are not consultants, because we don't use those here in my party. Our best advice is you, the people of Ontario. So I want to hear from my constituents. I'm going to send it out to every home as part of, rather than sending out another householder this year, I'm actually going to send out this survey, ask people to send it back. It's 54 questions. You can sign it or not sign it. If you want to remain anonymous, you can do that. But we want to hear what the priorities are. And I think you'll find it's very balanced. If you think that, as our questions tonight, if you think that taxes are just right, then we want to hear that. If you think that they're too high or too low, we want to hear that. And then there's space at the end to actually write in. I think what we've done when we tested this survey, we found a lot of people writing in exactly the same issues raised tonight. They can't get their mom or dad or grandpa and grandpa into a long-term care home, or they're waiting too long for surgery, or they just can't make ends meet because families need a break. I mean, we're being taxed through the roof, and now our hydro bills are going up, water rates are going up, and there seems to be no end in sight. So we really want to hear from people, and you don't need to wait for it to be mailed to you. As you say, you have your say. Ontario.ca is a website, and you can do it online, push a button, and submit it electronically.
Jim, you had 4,129 constituents interested enough to participate tonight in this electronic town hall. So it seems like people are interested.
Yeah, that's really gratifying. So sorry we couldn't get to everyone. I know we'll have to do less talking, Chad, in the future and let more people talk. But
anyone who's still on the line who does want to leave a message will have the opportunity to do so as our call ends this evening. So you'll have the opportunity to leave a voicemail. Those voicemails will all go into Jim's office. And if you want someone to get back to you, please just say so in that message when you record it. Jim, thank you so much tonight for being on the call.
Thank you, Chad.
And for anyone who wants to contact either of Jim's offices, 1-800-268-7542. 1-800-268-7542, JimWilsonMPP.com. And he's more than happy to help you out. So tonight's teleforum, Jim Wilson, MPP for Simcoe-Grey. So happy that so many of you were able to join us, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening. Thanks, and good night, everybody.